Okay guys, hello, welcome back. This is the first video that we've had since Thanksgiving break. So this one's going to be over Pythagorean Theorem, finding the missing leg and the missing hypotenuse. So we'll start off with number 2. The first thing you need to figure out is if you are looking to find a missing leg or a missing hypotenuse. So it helps to label your A, B, and C first. So the hypotenuse is always the side of the triangle that is directly across from the right angle. So the right angle is here, and the hypotenuse is always right across from that. So that hypotenuse always has to be C in the Pythagorean theorem. The two legs, excuse me, the legs are the sides that create the right angle. So those two legs can be either A or B. We'll make that one A and that one B. Alright, then what you do, your Pythagorean theorem is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So then what you do is you set up your equation. So you put a number in for A, B, and C. It looks like we are missing the hypotenuse for this one. So we'll put our number in for A and B. So for A, we were given a 5. So you write 5 squared. And B is 13 squared. So 13 squared equals C squared. So that's the first step, is to just put the numbers into the Pythagorean theorem. Alright, then the next thing you do is square the numbers. 5 squared is 25. And 13 squared is 169. Okay. That's the next thing. So after that, when you're looking for the hypotenuse, you add the two numbers together. So 25 plus 169 is 194. Okay, we're almost done. The last thing to do is to take the square root of both sides. Remember, when you're solving an equation that is squared, you use the inverse operation of squaring, which is square rooting. That cancels out the exponent. So you're left with C equals the square root of 194. Let's see what that is. 13.9. Don't need to write all those decimals. It says round to the nearest tenth. Alright, so C, or the hypotenuse in this problem, is 13.9. Let's try another one. Number 3. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and label my sides. So here's my right angle. So that means that 20 is my hypotenuse, or my C. So go ahead and label that C. And then the two other sides can be A or B. Okay? So we have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So for A, I don't have a number. That's what I'm going to be trying to figure out. So leave that like that. And then B is 10. So 10 squared equals C is 20. So 20 squared. So it looks like we were given the hypotenuse on this one. So we're going to be looking for a leg. And it's a little different when you're looking for a leg, but not that different. So here's what we do. So we set everything up. That's the first thing. Next, you still need to square the numbers. So 10 squared is 100, and 20 squared is 400. So you still have to square the numbers that they give you. Bring down the A squared. Now here's where it's different. So when we were looking for the hypotenuse over here, after we squared the numbers, we added. When you're looking for a leg, you don't add them. You actually solve it like a regular equation. So you actually have to subtract it. Okay? So when you look for a leg, you subtract. 400 minus 100 is 300. And then the last step is still the same. You have to get rid of this exponent, so you have to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of 300 is 17.3. So A equals 17.3. Is it weird that I'm writing in blue pen? I'm not really sure why I'm doing that. Let me grab a pencil. Okay, number 4. So like I always say, you need to go ahead and label your sides first. So here's your hypotenuse right here. So your hypotenuse has to always be C. So these can be A and B. Okay, so let's set it up. A is 5, so 5 squared plus 14 squared equals C squared. So this one we're missing a hypotenuse. Right? 5 squared is 25. 14 squared is 196. Add those together, and it's 221. And then take the square root of both sides. So that cancels. And the square root of 221 is 14.86. Now the 6 tells us to round the 8 up to a 9. So we're going to make that 14.9. So C equals 14.9. Okay. Number 5 and 6 we did do in class. So your homework was just to do 7, 8, and 9. Now for these 3, we were not given a picture. I said you can draw a picture if you want. So let's do that, and that will probably help us see it better. So let's draw just a regular right triangle. Remember, our legs have to be A and B, and our hypotenuse is always C. Okay, so A is 15. B is unknown. That's what we're going to, so it looks like we're solving for this leg. And C is 17. All right, so let's set that up. So that will be A squared is 15, so 15 squared plus B squared equals 17 squared. Okay. Square the numbers. 225 and 17 squared is 289. Alright, so we're looking for one of the legs here. So we're going to not add these together, we need to subtract them. So subtract the leg from the hypotenuse. And that is B squared, I'm going to write it over here, equals 64. When you subtract those, you get 64. So take the square root of both sides, and B equals 8. The square root of 64 is 8. Okay, number 8. Let's draw another picture. You can just make a right triangle just like the ones up at the top. Just has to have a right angle created by the legs. So your hypotenuse is here, and your legs. Okay, so it looks like on this one we're not given A, so we need to solve for A. B is 40. Oh, these are big numbers. And C is 50. So the hypotenuse is 50. Okay, so set it up. A squared plus B is 40, so 40 squared equals 50 squared. Okay, square the numbers. 40 squared, I'm going to have to put this in the calculator. 40 squared is 1600. $50 squared, I'm assuming, is 2500. Alright, now we're looking for the leg here, so we have to subtract. So minus 1600. And that's 900. Okay. So then a squared equals 900, and the last thing is to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of 900 is 30. So a equals 30. Okay, last one. Another one where we're looking for the leg. So let's draw it. Draw it out. Here's your hypotenuse. Here's your legs. Alright, so b is 2 and c is 4. So a squared plus b is 2, so 2 squared equals 4 squared. Alright, let's go ahead and square the numbers. 2 squared is 4. 4 squared is 16. Bring down the a squared. And then here we're going to have to, since we're looking for the leg, we need to subtract 4. And 16 minus 4 is 12. After we subtract, then we take the square root of both sides. And the square root of 12 is 3.46. The 6 tells the 4 to round up, so 3.5. A equals 3.5. Alright guys, see you tomorrow.